My name is Professor Oba Abdulraheem. Lots of people know me as Oba Abu. I'm a retired professor and academic. I hail from Ilorin, grew up in Ilorin a bit, but most of my life I spent outside, mainly in Kano. Like I said, being a technocrat of sorts in the academic world and having held political appointments elsewhere, I've garnered a lot of influence and friends in various spheres of life. That's part of the things that have influenced my coming into politics. So having retired from public life, public service, I decided to devote the rest of my life to participating in constructive political activities, especially taking part in elections which shape the future of all the people that one will live with, and hoping that the opportunity will be of benefit to the majority of people in Kwara State who have aspired and hoped over the years for responsible leadership in the political affairs of Kwara, especially at the governorship level. It is the absence of this, to a large measure, that has inspired me to come into politics. I thought I captured it a bit in what I've said, but contesting for governorship is asking for the trust of the people to take people into confidence, and they're taking you into confidence that when you get into charge of affairs of governance in the state, you will not be a betrayer. You'll be one who wants to work for the sake of working for the people. You want to sacrifice to improve the well-being of all the population, the youth, the women, and the weak as well. So I think coming to politics for me is a form of continuation of public service, service to humanity, to ensure that in my own lifetime I'm able to at least achieve a modicum of my vision of tomorrow. And part of the places I tend to work is the Kwara State. I don't know what you mean by a game of numbers. Yes, it may be a game of numbers, but depending on the availability of voters. It's not restricted to any particular party, and it's not determined by the color or the shape of the party. It's largely dependent on the quality of persons who are contesting for elective office and how much trust people can have in their, not only in their competence, but in the sincerity of their purpose to lead the people. So the NNPP, the New Nigeria People's Party, is the party I've chosen, having tasted life in other political parties and having failed to see the kind of a future that I envision for the people of Kwara State. I want a party that is responsive and responsible and caring for the welfare of the people. I've not had that experience in any other party. That's why I've shifted to NNPP. You are insinuating that it's a new party. NNPP is not a new party. If you care to look at a history of registration of political parties in Nigeria, you find that NNPP was one of the earliest registered parties. If you are talking about Kwara State, that is the first time that NNPP is coming into prominence, yes, that's because of the fact that I and my other compatriots have decided to pitch tent with that party. And we have not done so out of accident. We have done so out of considered all the possibilities and options that are available. One, the issue that bedevils Nigerian politics is that of corruption. If you find that, you will find that those of us in NNPP today, from top to bottom, from the presidential candidate to this person talking here, we have not been known in our public life, in our public service, to be engaged in any corrupt practices. And when we look and vision for Kwara, we think of a Kwara that is going to be blessed with people who have genuine love of the people, not for their property, not for their own selfish ends. As a practice, as a policy, when I talk about my involvement in politics, I don't want to talk about the opposition. The people are the best judge of the opposition. My own is to prove and give them the alternative to the opposition. And that's what I'm trying to do. If the incumbent has done well, it's left for the people to judge. If he has not, it's then left for them to listen to us, to people like me. I'm happy I am a family man. I have a wife, I have children. I have other adopted children who are from my family and outside it. I enjoy living in Ilorin, and that's why since I retired from public service, I've always lived here. So I enjoy interacting with the people of Kwara State, having been a resident. Unlike many other people who come only when they're looking for votes. I'm not here because I'm looking for votes. I've always lived here. I've always shared in the pains of the people. So I'm in better position to really do what I'm doing. So I enjoy being here. I enjoy free time. I have hobbies that I play, that I do. But most importantly, having been a former athlete, I enjoy a lot of physical exercises, which keeps me healthy. And also, I read quite substantially about not any academic thing now, but things about the world and how to survive in the world, things about politics and how to move around and maneuver your way around politicians, both professional, amateur, and just let me be there kind of people. So I enjoy interacting with people. If you come here all the time, I have people around me, and I share opinions with them, I share ideas with them about what is going on in our society and in what ways we can make it better than we have found it. Rabbi Kokoso has a pedigree of impeccable, unimpeachable public image. He was the governor of Kano State twice. The first time in 1999 to 2003, and later he went back to become governor again. In the two tenures, there's no blemish at all in his governance. He's not accused of any corrupt practices. He's not accused of failure to respond to the yearnings of the people. Actually, he was a product of the yearnings of the poor people of Kwara State. They enjoyed his tenure, and he paid back by impeccable, sincere, productive service to the people. He took education, which was the weakest point in the lives of the Kano people, into new heights. He invested heavily, massively in enlightenment and education of the young people in Kano State, to the extent that at the time he became non-discriminating about whoever was able to benefit from his education largesse, including non-natives of Kano State. So he invested a lot in all of that, and that's what is the payback time is here for people to respond to him. That's why when he has declared his intention to be president, is massively being followed by Nigerians, especially those who have been direct beneficiaries of his open-handed, transparent, and resourceful governance in Kwara State, in Kano State. So I think Kokoso is an example that is worthy of emulation by other people. And incidentally, at about the time he was governor, I was also the vice chancellor of the University of Ilorin. We had a relationship in a way, but I think this opportunity to come onto the same political platform is one of cementing like minds, me and Rabbi Kokoso. So I think I feel confident and comfortable being NNPP with him, knowing that these are people that can be trusted, that are trustworthy, and that have goals in life, especially they have a focus in the betterment of the lives of the less privileged in society. Become the custodian of the riches of the people, the wealth of the people, without stealing a penny of it. And if you can do that, I think we can begin to talk about redefining the issue of governance in Kwara State. If you remove corruption out of it, then you have a lot of resources to expend. And having resources is not the same as being able to manage and apply them. And from my own wealth of experience elsewhere, I think it's an opportunity for me to build a Kwara state of my own dream, and the one that can be shared by the majority of the people in Kwara State. I believe that Kwara State has suffered a lot since its creation over 50 years ago. There has been shortage of responsible leadership at the governorship level. That's why we're being in this solid state in terms of infrastructure, in terms of human development index, in terms of economic growth. We've been so very backwards. If you recall that Kwara State and Kwara State and Lagos State were created the same year in 1967, is there any way which you can compare in terms of infrastructure, in terms of leadership input, in terms of welfareism to the people? Can you compare Kwara State with any of these people? To be able to do credible government requires creativity in the minds of the leader, and that is the kind of thing that we want to offer. So I want to return governance to the people, and the way to want to return governance to the people is to make people owners of the instrument of governance. And one way they can do so is to benefit from the advantages of local government structure. You recall that President Buhari a couple of weeks ago cried out to say that the governors are thieves, and the point of their theft was the submergence of and virtual dissolution of the local government structure, where the wealth of the people resides. That's where the governors steal most. Now I'm saying that because we want to do a transparent governance in Kwara State, because I want to lead a productive government for the people, the first is to reinstate the local government structure. And I have always said, within 6 weeks, by the grace of God, of our emergence as governor, within 6 months, we will return the local government structure. We will conduct local government election. And when you do that, you bring governance in the hands of the people. They will elect their own councillor, they will elect their own chairman. My own as governor was simply to ensure that all of this would deliver on the promises, the electoral promises of our party to the people. And if we can do that, you can see that the doors of prosperity is being opened to the people. You will also know that while you are doing that at the political level, there must be re-engineering of Kwara State for the future through intervention, direct and political intervention in the conduct and the framework of education. We want to reform it because an uneducated population is a lost generation indeed. So I'm an educator by profession, and I think I take #1 interest in the quality of education, the quantity of education that Kwaras are able to enjoy. Therefore, I think that I have always had a dream that if I became governor, to prove to the people that I'm serious about education, about the welfare of those in charge of education. The teachers, I will myself become the Commissioner for Education, so that I can look at it directly by myself without the intervention of a third party. So if I can look at the problem of education and put it under my portfolio, I'll be able to determine and direct the kind of vision that I have about the Kwara of tomorrow, especially its responsiveness to the youth population, to the quality of education that they have, and the opportunity that they can get through being exposed to qualitative education. We want to change it, that's why we're in politics. It's been virtually bastardized and moribund over the time. And what they call politics is actually the only other name for public theft. We want to remove that. Stealing public funds will not be part of governance. And when you don't steal public funds, you will have the opportunity to prove yourself and to prove to the people that you are merely a custodian of their wealth, and you will invest it according to their interests. Why are people hammering on that? Everybody has a right to contest for elective position. It's the right of the people to have as many choices as there are. And the choice that people make will depend on how convincing the candidates are. So the issue of anybody stepping down for anybody is a new gimmick that is being played by people who feel that they have already failed before the beginning of the game. So they are looking for only somebody who will not be able to run, so that they can be left alone as a fait accompli to the people. So I think the issue of merging or stepping down is out of it, because if I wanted to do that, I would have done that a long time ago. I wouldn't have bothered picking the ticket for governorship. I would have simply supported somebody I think can meet my expectation. We thank him for that, but you must look at the quality of youth he has taken. Are those the best among the youth? Are those the most creative? Are those the kind of future youth that Kwara wants to build? It's one thing to say I want to fill United Nations figures with women, but it's the quality of people that you put into it that matters. So I don't know how you assess it. He has got youth, yes. He has got women, yes. Are they the right kind of mix for the right kind of purpose, for the right kind of objective? It is for the people to say, but it's not just simply playing political game with gender and other opportunities. I think that's one point at which I'm going to respond directly to your mention of the incumbent governor. I think a lot of credit goes to him, that he has not encouraged violence. Because if the government of the day had encouraged violence and thuggery, we would not be in the same kind of peaceful atmosphere. So we thank him for that, and that's the job of a governor, to ensure that there's peace. That peace will also lead to a peaceful, transparent, credible election. Let him allow us to do that. I know my own involvement. I don't know the quality of the mind of the other person who is in another party. It is his duty and responsibility to convince the people that he means well and that he has the competence to deliver on his promises. I always said that there are two categories of people who have been lukewarm, who have had the lukewarm attitude to political developments. Those the youth and the clergymen. I'm glad that things are becoming better now. The youth are becoming more politically conscious. They are now beginning to recognize that the youth being the leaders of tomorrow is not just rhetoric, it's a real thing. And that to be able to be leaders, you must begin to learn the ropes from now. Take active political interest in politics. Seek political offices. You begin by becoming a councillor, by becoming a supervisory councillor, by becoming a special advisor. You begin to learn the ropes. So there is a lot of hope and future for the youth, but they must be at the level where they can learn, where they can actually envision the kind of society that they can live in and the kind of society they can invite others to live in. So I think I'm very comfortable and very proud that young people in Kwara State and Nigeria as a whole have been very responsive to the political development, and the level of their participation is really, really encouraging, because that shows that tomorrow has a lot of promise for us. I will just say that the Kwara youth, the Kwara people, the youth in Kwara State must always, at all times, aspire for things that are things that they can be proud of themselves, not just being handmaiden to some other person. So I think I appreciate the level of involvement in the youth, and I will encourage the youth to take part in politics, because all throughout my life I've worked with young people. Being a professional teacher at the primary school, I've worked with people who have now become fathers today of other youths. At the university level, I've been engaged with admission of young people, giving them opportunity for education. They also become fathers today. Then there's also the opportunity that when I had public office at the University of Learning at federal character, I was able to use those positions to build young people who are today also building young people. So I have a string of relationship with young population in Kwara State as a whole. So I think it is very pleasing that at this time in my age, I can see people are now becoming more vibrant, more committed to political destiny of our community. I don't have to, I've already sold myself to them, and we're all commodities in the market. People should know what kind of quality to buy to make their governance. I've done my own due to society. Let them check other people if they have done as much as I've done for the building of Kwara society and contribution to the public life, public office in Nigeria.